Recalled Philippine envoys to Canada ordered to return to their posts after imported trash finally sails back to Canada. President Rodrigo Duterte advises Comelec to sever its partnership with Paul technology provider Smartmatic over Paul fraud allegations. UNTV exclusive, Peter Jomel Advincola, the man claiming to be Beco, submits a sworn statement to the Philippine National Police, tagging Senator Antonio Trillanes IV as the one behind the Ang Totoong Narcolist video. Find out things that Huawei phone users must know after Google cuts services on Chinese tech giants' smartphones. And Toronto Raptors strikes first to take early NBA final lead against the Golden State Warriors. Good evening. After 6 years, the trash that illegally entered the Philippines in 2013 and 2014 from Canada is finally on its way home. My Bermudez will tell us why.
At past 7 this morning, steel vessel MV Bavaria departed from Subic Port in Zambales carrying tons of trash which illegally slipped in the country in 2013 and 2014. More than 200 containers were loaded on the ship, 69 of which contain a mixture of plastics, metals, paper, and household garbage, including adult diapers and kitchen waste from Canada.
More than a role model is the fact that I don't think any country would like to get the waste of another. Parang bahay lang po yan. Gusto mo po ba yung kapitbahay mo, ikaw ang tapunan ng basura?
It took 15 hours to complete the process of loading and unloading shipments at Subic Bay International Container Terminal on Thursday. The journey will take 20 days before finally reaching Vancouver, Canada. From Subic, the shipping vessel will stop over at Kaohsiung, Taiwan before reaching Canada. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara said the Canadian government has allotted 10 million pesos for the return of the shipment. The removal of the garbage is expected to be completed in June. The Canadian government in a statement said it wants to ensure a positive outcome to this issue. The Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority or SBMA assured strict regulations will still be enforced to prevent illegal cargoes from entering the country.
I think more than a change in the procedure here, pag nandito na yan, at binubuksan naman kaya yan na-discover kasi binuksan. So that procedure has to be in place. Habang may gustong mag-misdeclare, how can you find out?
My Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Subic, Zambales.
Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin orders the recalled Philippine diplomats to return to their posts. Meanwhile, Malacanang hopes the diplomatic relations between the Philippines and Canada will go back to normal now that the trash from Canada is on its way back. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Now that the Canadian trash illegally imported in the country in 2013 and 2014 has been shipped out of the Philippine territory, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin orders the Philippine diplomats recalled from Canada to return to their post. It can be noted that the Philippine ambassador and consuls to Canada had been ordered to return to the Philippines after the Canadian government failed to remove the containers that contain Canadian garbage before the May 15 deadline set by President Rodrigo Duterte. In his tweet this morning, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin orders the diplomats to prepare returning to their post to the North American country. He thanks them and apologizes for the trouble they have gone through. Secretary Locsin also thanks the Canadian Embassy in Manila for their cooperation. It can be recalled that President Duterte got mad for Canada's seemingly lack of attention to immediately remove their trash from the Philippines. Today, the Canadian waste containers began their travel back to Canada through the Liberian flag container ship MV Bavaria. Malacanang welcomes the latest development and reiterates that what's important for President Duterte is to ship out the Canadian trash.
Hopefully, ganon. Kasi that triggered the disruptive relations. Yun lang naman ang naging dahilan.
The government also hopes that the diplomatic relations between the Philippines and Canada will go back to normal. The Philippines is not the only country which complains about being a dump site of other nations. Recent reports say Malaysia has begun sending back foreign waste in its territory to its country of origin.
For rich countries to send their waste to poor countries simply because the poor countries have no choice. Maybe it contributes a little to their economy. But they send this plastic waste to Malaysia. We cannot we cannot accept that kind of idea that waste from rich countries should be sent to poor countries. We don't need your waste because our own waste is enough to give us problems.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
President Rodrigo Duterte advises the Commission on Elections to dispose of Smartmatic as the electronic voting technology and service provider in the country. The poll body says it is open to President Duterte's advice. Aiko Miguel explains why.
President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered the Commission on Elections or Comelec to dispose of the Smartmatic machines, which caused glitches in the recently concluded midterm elections. The chief executive said the poll body must find a new and fraud-free service provider.
I would like to advise Comelec now, hindi ko na lang hintayin, dispose of that Smartmatic and look for a new one that is free of fraud.
The Commission on Elections or Comelec say they are open to the President's advice.
Ang take-away dito talaga ay yung Presidente gusto niya automated pa rin. Ibang supplier siguro ang gusto niya, no? Malinaw naman siguro sa sinabi niya yun, pero malinaw rin na hindi niya itinatakwil ang ating automated system, kundi lamang yung supplier.
But according to the poll body, they cannot just easily end the deal and ban Smartmatic unless served with a solid legal basis.
Kakailanganin natin ng legal basis to ban any supplier. So, yun ang titingnan natin.
Comelec also welcomes a new service provider for the 2022 presidential elections.
Palagi namang may chance ang magpapalit ng provider kasi nga dumadaan tayo sa public bidding. So there's always a chance for that, and the bidding schedules are designed to accommodate a new supplier every time.
Comelec stands firm. Despite all the glitches during the elections, the totality of the 2019 midterm elections was successful. On June 4, there will be a set hearing of the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee on Automated Election System, in which the glitches in the recent midterm elections will be scrutinized. Meanwhile, Malacanang clarifies in a statement that the President's latest remarks on Smartmatic does not mean that the just concluded elections is not honest nor credible. According to Presidential Spokesperson Secretary Salvador Panelo, Comelec should take seriously the suggestion of the President, for after all, it should be the first one that should be fiercely protective of its image, being the constitutional body mandated to safeguard the sanctity of the ballots. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Some senators expressed their approval of President Rodrigo Duterte's pronouncement, urging the poll body to look for another automated election service provider. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
Some senators in the majority and opposition bloc do not oppose President Rodrigo Duterte's statement that urges the Commission on Elections or Comelec to end its deal with Smartmatic. This is amid the fraud issues surrounding the 2019 midterm elections. According to Senate Committee on Electoral Reforms Chairman Aquilino Coco Pimentel III, he is also thinking along the same lines. However, the senators can only do so much as recommending to the poll body. Senator Pimentel has long been proposing hybrid elections. The said proposal is strengthened after a Senate probe on alleged irregularities in the 2010 elections which used the Smartmatic election system. According to Liberal Party President Senator Francis Pangilinan, they hope for electoral reforms, as well as those responsible to be held accountable for the following: the administration's allies barefaced violations in election laws. Malacanang released of baseless narco list, the President threatened the local politicians. Comelec denying their request of debate. Comelec named a party allied with the majority as the dominant minority. The Ishon reports on unmailed ballots of the OFWs. The poll body did not give the party the mirror servers and reported hundreds of vote counting machines that are malfunctioned or defective in an election with alleged rampant vote buying. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
The Toronto Raptors, with the support of an entire nation behind them, wins the first NBA Finals game played outside the United States. Ferdy Petalio will tell us why.
With a thrilling 118-109 victory over the two-time defending champion Golden State Warriors on Thursday, the Toronto Raptors came out firing in their finals debut and were not intimidated by a talent-laden Warriors team who are playing in the NBA's championship series for a fifth consecutive season. Toronto was led by Cameroonian forward Pascal Siakam, who scored a playoff career-high 32 points.
I think it's amazing. It just shows the growth of the continent, Cameroon, and just basketball in Africa in general, and kind of being at this stage and representing the continent is amazing, man. I feel blessed, and I just want the game to continue to grow in Africa and for kids to see this, and hopefully it inspires them.
The Warriors are not too familiar with the Raptors and were largely undone by turnovers and a weak transition defense. Golden State's sharpshooting duo of Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson failed to find their usual groove in opening game of the series, with Curry scoring 34 points and Thompson 21.
But again, give credit to Toronto. They played a great game. They made a lot of shots, difficult shots, and our transition defense and turnovers, that stuff, it's really hard to overcome, especially on the road. So we got to get better with that.
But yeah, we're not very familiar with this team, but that's no excuse. It's still got to come out here, and our goal was to get one, and it's still on the table for us. So I know we'll respond like the champions we are.
The Warriors are trying to become the first NBA to win 3 consecutive titles since the Los Angeles Lakers did it in 2002. Game 2 of the Best of 7 Championship Series is on Sunday, June 2nd in Toronto. Ferdy Petalio, UNTV News and Rescue.
It is one for the books for the Toronto Raptors as it reaches the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history and beats the Golden State Warriors in Game 1. The city of Toronto in Ontario, Canada celebrates the Raptors' milestone. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
As the Toronto Raptors make history with their first ever NBA Finals, people in the capital of Ontario, Canada wake up to this wall that Don, the King of the North. Nope, it's not Jon Snow, but Raptors forward Kawhi Leonard with the crown and with his number 2 jersey on. Another wall that surprised passers-by and motorists on this street is a mural of other Raptors star players. This shoe store's wall depicts Kawhi in action. In this shop, Kawhi eats for free. And this bagel shop serves something special to celebrate the Toronto Raptors milestone. Bagels with the Raptors color with cream cheese filling. In Game 1 of the NBA Finals, Toronto beat the Golden State Warriors 118-109. Raptors will host the GSW for Game 2 of the series on Sunday, June 2 Eastern Time. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue.
Peter Jomel Advincula, who has publicly introduced himself as the Beco in the video series entitled Ang Totoong Narcolist, gives a sworn statement before the Philippine National Police. He narrated how several personalities are involved in the so-called destabilization plot against the Duterte administration. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why in this exclusive.
After posting bail for his estafa case, Peter Jomel Advincula alias Beco left Camp Crame last Saturday, May 25. But he came back to the Philippine National Police or PNP headquarters on Monday, May 27 and voluntarily gave a sworn statement as well as pinpointed the persons behind the Ang Totoong Narcolist video series and the so-called Project Sodoma, which allegedly aims to oust President Rodrigo Duterte. According to Advincula, on August 18 last year, he approached a priest in Ateneo de Manila University to seek help after he had problems in a promotional event in Albay, Bicol. He said that the priest, whom he identified as Albert Alejo, gave him a job as a research assistant for a 25,000 peso monthly salary. On August 27, Alejo allegedly introduced him to the security assistant of Senator Antonio Trillanes IV, Jerome alias Jonel, who could help him with his financial woes. Advincula said that after 2 days, he was introduced to Trillanes, who allegedly borrowed the documents he had regarding Senator Laila de Lima and former President Noynoy Aquino, which he said had been given to him by a person from the Bureau of Corrections. Trillanes allegedly told him he would validate the documents. He and Jonel met again at the view deck of Ateneo's House of Theology. He was surprised after seeing the documents he lent to Trillanes had been altered. Statements regarding De Lima and former President Aquino had been replaced with the names of President Duterte's family and of Senator-elect Bongo. On February 9, he and Alejo went to the Bishop House of Diocese of Caloocan to talk about a clamor they would create for the May elections and an expose on social media against the Duterte administration that would favor Ocho Derecho. On February 11, a meeting was held in De La Salle University in Manila to destabilize the administration. Present in the meeting were Senator Trillanes, former Education Secretary Armin Luistro, Jojo Asierto, Alejo and another priest Flavi Villanueva, Dan Sunco, Yoli Villanueva, Vicente Romano, and Jonel. More meetings took place, which included a certain attorney Phil, who belonged to Senator Laila de Lima's staff. Advincula said he also got to meet Rappler's Chay Hofilenia and Senator Riza Hontiveros, who asked what would be her part in the destabilization plot. On February 22, Trillanes allegedly called an emergency meeting in which he showed a PowerPoint presentation on Project Sodoma. He added that Trillanes had ordered them that by all means, President Duterte must be ousted before June 30. In the last part of February, they bought technical equipment in Raon, Gilmore, and Green Hills to be used in the activation of Project Sodoma, worth 250,000 pesos given to him by Aviejo. On March 4, they met with the Ocho Derecho senatorial bets except for Mar Rojas. Even Vice President Leni Robredo was allegedly present at the Leon Hall in Ateneo de Manila University. The meeting was about the set of strategies to execute Project Sodoma. March 29, they began producing the videos in Ateneo de Manila University inside the Jesuit Communication or JESCOM sound room. Advincula said a certain J.M. Saracho was the narrator. Persons he identified as Boom Enriquez and Monique were the videographers. Yoli Ong, Vicente Romano III, and Alejo were the script writers, he said. Advincula stated the Ang Totoong Narcolist Episode 1 was uploaded on April 2, Episode 2, April 4, Episode 3, April 4, Episode 4, April 12, and Episode 5, April 22. Even his reaching out to the Integrated Bar of the Philippines had been planned by the group, he said. Advincula added he has other pieces of evidence, such as receipt of the items they bought for recording the videos. His conversations with Jerome, the chief of security of Trillanes, and the key to the Groove condominium unit in Pasig City where he allegedly hid. Presently, Advincula is staying at Camp Crame despite PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde's statement that they have no facility where Advincula could stay. However, it can be noted that Senator Trillanes and Vice President Robredo denied Advincula's allegations against them and questioned his credibility because of his flip-flopping statements. On the other hand, former PNP chief and now Senator-elect Ronald Bato de la Rosa has said that Advincula's testimonies must still be probed.
Hindi ko sinasabi na paniwalaan niyo si Bicoy. Kasi ako mismo, walang credibility sa akin yung tao niyan. Pero, kung ikaw ay mag-investigate ng isang kaso, huwag mong ilalamp up lahat ng investigation. Pag-engage ni Bicoy sa sa Bucor noon, ibang investigasyon yon. Pag engage ni Bicoy dito sa paggawa niya ng video, series, dapat ibang investigation yun. Pag engage ni Bicoy doon sa IBP, na humingi siya ng tulong, separate investigation yun.
Mirasol Abugadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Senator-elect Amy Marcos says she will prioritize measures on poverty, alleviation, and anti-terror bill, among others. She also eyes to chair 2 committees in the upper house of Congress if given the chance. Ray Pelayo explains why.
If Senator-elect Amy Marcos were to be asked, she would choose to chair the Senate Committee on Social Welfare, as she wants to focus on crafting bills that would help alleviate poverty. But in consideration of the more senior senators, Marcos said it will depend on the decision of Senator Joel Villanueva, who currently chairs the Social Welfare Committee, if he gives up the chairmanship. Nevertheless, the senator-elect said she is still okay with the Senate Committee on Local Government, which also fits her credentials, having years of experience in local governance. Despite the controversies thrown against her and her family, Marcos ranked 8th in the 2019 senatorial race with over 15,800,000 votes. Senator-elect Marcos said that when the 18th Congress begins, she will prioritize measures on lowering the poverty incidence in the country, land reform, peace and order, or the anti-terror bill, among others. Marcos also wants to amend the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, or for peace, and push for more cash for work program instead of the dole-out scheme. She said she supports the establishment of a Department of Water to address the country's water problems, as well as measures for agricultural development and lowering the price of basic commodities. She also wants to amend the current solo parent law and push for more benefits for single parents. Marcos admitted she is against the Reserve Officer Training Corps, or ROTC, a preference contrary to that of the Duterte administrations. She will support, however, measures that are seen to establish a mandatory citizenship service instead of mandatory military service.
So, hindi mo naman pwedeng pilitin pag ganun eh. Experience namin nung kabataang barangay, okay lang yung tree planting, coastal clean up, yung mga ganun, ayos lang yon. Pero yung pagiging sundalo, ibang usapan kasi.
She opposes the increase in tobacco taxes, reinstate death penalty for drug-related crimes, extend term of barangay officials, and synchronize elections with the national level, benefits for retiring local officials, reform sangguniang kabataan system, and establishment of the Department of Overseas Filipino Workers. When asked if she would revive the Bataan nuclear power plant, a known legacy of his father, late President Ferdinand Marcos, the incoming senator said it is not necessary as there are alternative sources of energy similar to the windmill of Ilocos Norte.
So, no to nuclear power plant.
Well, okay sana kung andyan pa, pero wala nang laman eh, hindi na sulit.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Malacanang stands firm that President Rodrigo Duterte will not intervene in choosing the next House Speaker in the 18th Congress. Grace Casin will tell us why.
Issues that President Rodrigo Duterte has already chosen a next House Speaker surfaced after a picture of Congressman Lord Alan Velasco, Congressman-elect Martin Romualdez, and Congressman-elect Alan Peter Cayetano, together with President Rodrigo Duterte and Senator-elect Christopher Bongo in Japan, surfaced on social media. Velasco, Romualdez, and Cayetano are among the congressmen running for House Speaker in the 18th Congress. According to Senator-elect Bongo, the 3 lawmakers want the president to choose who will be the next leader of the lower house. But Bongo said the president refused.
Gusto naman ng tatlo, sana ay yung Pangulo ko ang pumili. Subalit sabi ni Pangulo, magkaiba tayo. Separate branch of government tayo. Ayaw niya makialam.
Malacanang insists that the president wants the member of the lower house to choose their leader.
Presidente hindi makikialam sa speakership contest. Bahala mga miyembro ng Kamara de Representantes kung sino ang bubutuan.
House Minority Leader Danilo Suarez has earlier stated that Romualdez has the number 2 in the seat.
Yung gathering of signatures, mukhang marami nang nag-cast ng support kay Congressman Romualdez.
According to Albay Representative Ed Salagman, a member of the independent minority in the lower house, the House Speaker should assure and defend the independence and integrity of the House and not act as a rubber stamp of the President. Aside from Romualdez, Velasco and Cayetano, Davao del Norte Representative Pantalon Alvarez also want to regain the position. However, Davao City 1st District Representative Congressman-elect Paulo Duterte and Antique Congresswoman-elect Lauren Legarda earlier denied that they are running for Speaker. Grace Casen, UNTV News and Rescue.
President Rodrigo Duterte calls on Chinese President Xi Jinping to hammer out a code of conduct for the South China Sea, warning the disputed waterway is increasingly becoming a potential flashpoint of conflict. From Tokyo, Japan, June Soriao will tell us why live. June, go ahead.
Good evening, Diego. The summit meeting between President Rodrigo Duterte and Japanese Prime Minister Abe Shinzo has just concluded minutes ago. President Duterte conveyed his deepest respect and appreciation to Emperor Emeritus Akihito on behalf of the Filipino. Since his last visit in 2017, he said that there has been a marked increase in Philippines-Japanese engagements across the full spectrum of their relations. The chief executive said that it is unprecedented and it must be sustained. His summit meeting with Prime Minister Abe this evening is their 7th since 2016, and he said that it was an opportunity to ensure that Philippines-Japan ties will continue to grow from strength to greater strength. They discussed the modalities for greater cooperation in upgrading the Philippines' defense capabilities, including maritime security and maritime domain awareness. He also said that there is a good news here, Diego, that President Duterte is grateful for Japan's fresh commitment of around 25 billion yen for the development of Mindanao's road network, vocational training facilities and equipment, and other projects. The President thanked Prime Minister Abe for the importance his government attaches to the Mindanao and its commitment to achieve just and lasting peace and sustainable development for the people of Mindanao. They also discussed the challenges to regional maritime security, non-traditional threats, ongoing efforts to secure peace in the Korean Peninsula, and supporting free trade and advancing the rule of law. Today, the President and Prime Minister Abe had rededicated themselves to the common vision of a stable, free, and prosperous Asian region. Meanwhile, this afternoon, Diego, in the 25th Nikkei International Conference on the Future of Asia, President Duterte said that he's hoping that China would come up with conduct of the sea soon, and somebody should reach out to the United States, because he said that if you leave them to talk, nothing will happen. Diego.
All right, thank you. June Soriao reporting live from Tokyo, Japan. The Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, once again warns parents and students to beware of colorum school service as classes resume next week. Joanano tells us why.
As the opening of school year 2019 to 2020 begins next week, some parents prefer to avail of school service for their children to having them struggle in using public transportation. However, several school service operators are complaining about the proliferation of colorum school service. According to Celso de la Paz, the president of the National Alliance of School Service Association of the Philippines, a lot of parents are patronizing colorum school service as it is quite cheaper than using service with franchise. De La Paz said that colorum school service only charges 1,200 pesos a month, while legitimate units collect 1,500 pesos each month.
Yun nga doon nga ako nagugulat. Bakit kaming mga may prangkisa, ang kanilang mga pinag-iipitan, samantalang nagkalat ang kolorum. Hindi lang dito sa Marikina, buong Metro Manila halos may kolorum.
The group presented several videos that show the operations of alleged colorum school service. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB admitted they do not have enough manpower to apprehend these colorum vehicles. But the agency also urged school managements to report these colorum vehicles operating in their areas.
We assure them na the LTFRB is giving them the time. Mayroon kaming mga tao along school premises, lalo pag opening. Yung process namin nandoon talaga. Kaya lang yung sinasabi ko, we have to get some help from other agencies.
The LTFRB appeals to parents of school children not to patronize colorum school service.
Sana kung mga school service na kukunin na, yung nga legitimate na may franchise kasi may mga insurance yun na mag-cover doon sa mga passengers.
The agency warns that apprehended operators of colorum vehicles will be penalized with 200,000 pesos and impoundment of vehicle for 3 months. Meanwhile, the School Service Association of the Philippines is yet to impose fare increase despite several oil price hikes this year. As classes resume on Monday, the Department of Transportation is on heightened alert to ensure convenient and safe travel of students, teachers, and other school personnel. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Marikina City.
The month-long PBA Legends face-off begins on Sunday, June 2. The UNTV Cup off-season games include legendary players of the pro basketball scene in the country. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
If you think that the PBA Legends return of the rivals last February was not enough, this is your chance to once more witness in action the players we admire that served as the pillars of Philippine basketball. Coming back on Sunday is the rivalry of 4 teams in the month-long tournament, the UNTV Cup PBA Legends Face-Off. In the first game, San Miguel takes on Pure Foods at 12 p.m. while Ginebra meets Alaska at 1:30 p.m., both at the Pasig City Sports Center. San Miguel will be led by triggerman Adan Kaidik, Ato Agustin, Nelson Asaytono, Olsen Racela, Bong Alvarez, Danny Ildefonso, and Danny Siegel. The tandem of Defense Minister Jerry Codinera and the captain Alvin Patrimonio, together with Dindo Pumaren, Bong Ravena, and Bonel Balinget, will lead the Pure Foods team. Soaring for the Alaska team is Johnny the Flying A. Abarientos, together with Jojo Lastimosa, Bong Hawkins, Jeffrey Carriazo, and Willie Miller. The comeback of the tandem of Marlo Aquino and Bal David, Vince Hizon, Noli Locsin, Pido Harencio, and JJ Halderbrand will excite Barangay Ginebra. UNTV Cup Commissioner and PBA Legends Foundation Chairman Fortunato Atoyco said the 4 teams are ready and conditioned to get on the hard court, not just for their fans, but also for their fellow PBA legends whom they wish to support.
Ang pinoproblema namin ay yung ticket. Baka dumugin yung sports center. Kasi it can only house about 3,000 people eh. 2 yun ang finals sa Araneta gagawin.
After June 2, the games will be held weekly at Pasig City Sports Center. Aside from the thrill on the hardwood, the PBA Legends will play also for the benefit of the PBA Legends Foundation.
2 milyon ang paghahatian ng mga players. Players yung mananalo, yung second place, third place, fourth place, magkakaroon sila ng certain amount. Sa tingin ko din naman makakatulong din sa kanila yun. And at the same time, after the tournament, the UNTV Cup is going to donate 2 million pesos to the PBA Legends Foundation.
The delayed telecast of the game will air on UNTV at 3 p.m. also on June 2. Tickets are available at the venue on Sunday from 10 in the morning. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Huawei phone users are still confused with what will happen to their mobile units after Google's the Android system ban. Officials from the Chinese phone company, however, assure Huawei phone users there is no need to worry. Locsin explains why.
Are you a Huawei phone user? You might be worried because of the recent news regarding Google's Android system ban on Huawei. Google said they will stop transacting with Huawei because of the alleged security threat of the Chinese company to the United States. The United States Department of Commerce said that Huawei can still transact with Google until August 19, 2019. Huawei is the third largest mobile phone manufacturer in the world, with millions of users. That is why we directly asked today several officials from the Chinese company on what will happen to devices currently owned by their users. Kerry Buenafe, the head of Huawei's Public Affairs and Communications Department, answered us precisely.
All existing Huawei phones na naka-issue na po sa market ngayon will still receive updates. So wag po kayong mag-alala, hindi po mawawala yung serbisyo po ng phone nila.
Even Huawei's sister company, Honor, will still function properly. Huawei said that even applications such as Facebook and Instagram and even Google's own apps will still receive updates. Only all new units that will be released after the ban will be prohibited from using the Android system. On security issues in the Philippines, Huawei assured that all their products are safe to use.
So yung pong ban it's futuristic. So it's not retroactive. So yung pong future phones maybe for next year.
Even the United States have no concrete proof or evidence until now on their accusations against Huawei.
I know that on their own initiative, they already conducted a series of tests with international consultants po, especially Globe and Smart. So wala naman po sila nakitang threat dun sa network that can cause any concern.
Huawei appealed to vendors not to sell their phones at lower prices because of the rumors. There are news that in Singapore, Huawei's flagship phone is being sold for 70% less. The $1,000 P30 Pro, which sells for more than $35,000 in the Philippines, can be bought for only $135 in Singapore, or equivalent to only 4,500 pesos. Locsin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources temporarily bans fishing in the Davao Gulf area for 3 months. Janice Inhente will tell us why.
The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR Region 11, will again implement its closed fishing season in Davao Gulf beginning tomorrow. The restriction covers taking or catching small pelagic fish, or locally known as carabalyas, galunggong, and matambaka. This measure is a yearly implementation in which fishing in the area is temporarily banned to allow more species of fish to grow and to help fishermen catch more at the end of 3-month closure period. The VFAR Fishery Protection and Law Enforcement Group has deployed their marshals to man the shores in the area.
No bag net operators, no ring net operators. Bakasyon muna.
So talagang patungo tayo sa maganda. Ang importante lang muna, maalagaan mo na yung municipal water.
Meanwhile, BFAR Davao Region assures there are enough supplies of fish in the region during the fishing ban.
Maskin may close season, suficiente, merong stock. Kagaya ng rice, meron tayong stock na mga nandiyan nakastambay na fish imported na comparable naman ang presyo.
Whoever violates the closed fishing season will face a penalty of 20,000 to 100,000 pesos times the value of fish caught, imprisonment of 6 months to 6 years, and cancellation of license or permit. Janice Inhente, UNTV News and Rescue, Davao City.
And for the news abroad, Budapest police have launched a criminal investigation into the capsizing of a tourist boat that left 7 people dead and 21 missing. Jovic Bermas will tell us why.
CCTV footage released by police on Thursday shows the moment a boat carrying tourists sank on the Danube in Budapest, killing at least 7 people on Wednesday. The boat collided with a much larger luxury passenger boat during a rainstorm near the capital's parliament building. Police said they have arrested the captain of the cruise ship that was involved in the fatal collision. The 64-year-old captain of the larger ship, the 135-meter 4-story Viking Sigyn, is suspected of endangering water transport leading to a deadly mass accident. In line with Hungarian laws, the suspect, a resident of Odessa, was identified only as Yuri. Meanwhile, Hungarian rescue officials still searching the Danube said there was little chance of finding survivors. A crane ship docked near the wreck on Thursday in preparation for recovery operations and divers prepared equipment. Police said the rescue efforts were hampered by high water levels, strong currents, and bad visibility. 30 South Korean tourists and 3 tour guides as well as 2 Hungarian crew were on board the Habliani. The 7 confirmed victims were not wearing life jackets and 3 of them were found several kilometers from the site of the collision, police said. The Very Good Tour Agency, a South Korean firm, said most of the people aboard had been part of an organized tour party which had set off despite the weather. Hundreds of boats ply the Danube each day in Budapest. Some offer short sightseeing tours and other larger cruise ships dock in the city before continuing along the river. The waterway was busy on Wednesday despite the poor weather.
These boats normally only depart in the middle of the night, but between 9 and 10 at night is the most active time of the night sailing on the Danube. So I find this incredible that these huge boats are allowed to move around at that time.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán offered his condolences to Seoul. South Korean President Moon Jae-in said the authorities would work with the Hungarian government to investigate the cause of the accident. Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue, Europe.
U.S. President Donald Trump has announced tariffs on all goods coming from Mexico. Beverly Saison will tell us why.
President Donald Trump said on Thursday the United States will impose tariff on all goods coming from Mexico in a bid to curb illegal immigration. In a tweet, Mr. Trump said that from 10th of June, a 5% tariff would be imposed and would slowly rise until the illegal immigration problem is remedied. President Trump has declared a national emergency to tackle what he claims is a crisis at the U.S. southern border. Border agents say they are overwhelmed, but critics say they are mishandling and mistreating migrants. Jesus Yare, Mexico's top diplomat for North America, said the tariffs would be disastrous. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador blasted Trump's decision to impose tariffs, writing in a letter that Trump's America First policy was a fallacy. The Mexican president said his country was doing as much as possible to stem the flow of Central American migrants through his country to the United States and without violating human rights. He also wrote that Mexico wanted to avoid a confrontation with the United States on the issue. During his election campaign and throughout his time in office, President Trump has sought funds to build a wall in the U.S.-Mexico border. He declared a national emergency in February in an attempt to divert federal funds for a barrier wall, but a judge blocked his efforts in May. The White House said on Thursday that the president will use the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to implement the new tariffs on Mexico. The announcement came the same day that the White House told Congress it planned to pursue a new trade deal with Mexico and Canada. Beverly Saison, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Nearly 700 people, most of them children, in a city in Pakistan had been tested positive on human immunodeficiency virus or HIV. Kath Dumaraos will tell us why.
In the dusty town of Ratodero in southern Pakistan, doctors are struggling to cope with an alarming outbreak of young patients infected with HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, with almost 700 of new cases over the past few months, most of them children. But many of the families cannot afford proper treatment, which usually involves regular trips to Karachi for medicines.
I have sold all my valuables for treatment. Now I can't afford to go to Karachi for my children's medicine every month. I sold all of my gold and jewelry.
Tariq Ali from Aladino Silro was himself diagnosed as HIV positive last year. His sister died of AIDS and his wife and daughter are HIV positive. A nephew was diagnosed HIV positive a few days ago. Some families, like Nazir Hussein Shah, whose 16-month-old infant girl was diagnosed HIV positive in February, could not fathom how the virus managed to infect their loved ones. Officials suspect crack medical practitioners who are widespread in port towns and villages across Pakistan of reusing syringes and providing improperly screened blood transfusions.
Instead of eating, I gave my money to him for treatment. He used to apply same drip on 50 children without changing the needle.
From April 25 to May 25, 2019, Federal Health Ministry officials say 681 people have tested positive for HIV, of whom 537 were children.
This is the tip of iceberg which I have declared or I have identified. It might be, the number might raise to hundreds, even to thousands.
The federal government has asked for help from the World Health Organization and the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Foreign medical teams are in the country and the government has ordered 50,000 HIV kits and is setting up 3 treatment centers around Larkana. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
Plastic pollution is a throbbing environmental problem on a global scale, and plastic straws is one resilient polluting issue. In Vietnam, eco-friendly straws are being served in a number of cafes and restaurants. Team Timoteo will tell us why.
An estimate of 800 million tons of plastic waste is dumped and collected every year. To reduce this persistent problem, reusable straws, bamboo, and steel straws are gradually being introduced into the market. Recently, a new kind of eco-friendly straw was invented by a Vietnamese local from Mekong Delta, Vietnam. This straw is made from a kind of grass called Lepironia articulata, or most commonly known as gray sedge or wild grass. This type of grass grows naturally in tropical countries like Philippines, Malaysia, and Vietnam. Its natural straw-like shape makes it an ideal alternative to plastic straws. It is not only good for the environment because local stores, restaurants, and cafes are also shifting to these eco-friendly straws for its affordability. The fresh wild grass only costs 600 Vietnam dong, or 1 peso and 20 centavos a piece if you order 500 pieces or more, while the dry grass costs 1,000 Vietnam dong or 2 pesos a piece for orders 500 and above. We've visited the Organic House, a store here in Vietnam that supports the use of eco-friendly straws.
Many persons make this straw, but he is the best one because he make this straw by hand, no machine.
What do you think? Yeah, it tastes not overpowering, but very nice. It tastes a bit like palm, so this is the alternative to plastic. Oh, really good.
Well, it's edible like grass back home. If I just was eating grass, I wouldn't have this for a meal, but this is a good straw.
Grass straw. My drinks.
Several restaurants and cafes in Ho Chi Minh City that sell organic food and drinks have begun these kinds of biodegradable straws and even cutlery. Truly, this eco-friendly straw is an impressive invention because it's safe, reusable, sustainable, environmentally friendly, and economical. RJ Timoteo, UNTV News and Rescue, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam.
8 young super spellers, all tied and all were crowned co-champions of the Scripps National Spelling Bee in what competition officials said was a first for the event. After a marathon session stretching into early Friday, each winner will receive a $50,000 prize and a trophy in the 3-day event that started with 562 word whizzes from across the nation, U.S. territories, and 6 other countries. Officials say that while there have been co-champions in the past, there have never been 8. The 6 boys and 2 girls range in age from 12 to 14 and hail from 6 states: Alabama, California, Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Texas. And those are the reasons behind the news this May 31, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltasar, I am Angelo Castro III, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know. We will always ask why. Good evening.
I think more than the change in the procedure here, pag nandito na yan, at binubuksan naman kaya yan na-discover kasi binuksan. So that procedure has to be in place. Habang may gustong mag-misdeclare, how can you find out?
I would like to advise Comelec now, hindi ko na lang hintayin, dispose of that Smartmatic and look for a new one that is free of fraud.
Kakailanganin natin ng legal basis to ban any supplier. So, yun ang titignan natin.
Presidente hindi makikialam sa speakership contest. Bahala mga miyembro ng Kamara de Representantes kung sino ang bubuton.
2 milyon ang paghahatian ng mga players. Players yung mananalo, yung second place, third place, fourth place, magkakaroon sila ng certain amount. Sa tingin ko din naman makakatulong din sa kanila yun. And at the same time, after the tournament, the UNTV Cup is going to donate 2 million pesos to the PBA Legends Foundation.